Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name is Andy. My channel is Finding Value. If you guys are looking for financial education, you've hit the right channel. Click subscribe. Join our community in riding this commodity bull market up together. We can help each other out. So I'm getting a lot of questions on how do you chart ratios. You can search for ratios in Google. Sometimes they've got charts for a very long-term perspective, dating back 100 years or more. Sometimes you can find that. But what I do if you're looking for real-time charting on ratios is I use stockcharts.com. Stockcharts.com, I've got it behind me. This is what it is, literally stockcharts.com. And the way that you bring it up, so let's say you want to do a gold to silver ratio. You type in $gold, because that's what they use for the gold continuous contract. You use a colon, another $, and silver. That is the format that you have to put it in. You hit enter at stockcharts.com and there's your ratio. Now, you can move in and out of this. So I use this bar. I go to 1, which is zooming out. The size of it, I'm going to blow this thing up a little bit bigger. And I'm staying on a daily candlestick period. And this is what the chart looks like right there. You can tell just by looking at this chart, we've got kind of a breakout to the downside here. So it broke to the downside and we're heading lower. Sure, you can throw maybe another one on top of here, even if this thing were to come back up a little bit. I think overall, the general trend over the next 5 to 10 years because of real estate is a lower gold to silver ratio, which means silver is going to outperform gold. Now let's do some other charting. If you want to chart the Dow, they do a lot of these $ things. So you want to do $, the Dow is INDU, $, gold. This is the Dow to gold ratio. Another ratio, you can draw kind of a trend line in here. It just sticks out to me. Broke to the upside. We're heading back down. And we've got another kind of trend line coming through here. So we're breaking all these different types of trend lines. We've got maybe even a shoulder, head, shoulder developing. Maybe this blows back down. I expect this ratio where gold's going to outperform the Dow on a longer term horizon. I don't know what it's going to do in the very short term with stuff opening up, but this is one of the ratios that I look at, and basically this is stocks to gold ratio. And you can also do the S&P 500. That's, I think, $SPX, $SPX to $gold. So that would be the S&P 500 to, we got a trend line coming through here, broke to the upside, and now we're kind of pulling back. Again, I think this is going to pull back over the long term, perhaps not the short term. Now, if you want to look at like the dollar, it's $USD. I didn't delete out that. $USD. And there's the dollar. You can see that this guy broke this trend line to the downside and we've been moving down. We've got another trend line that broke to the upside. We had a little kind of pull up there. Let's zoom in on it. So coming on up, we're pulling on back. Will this continue? We've got some support down here. We'll see which way it breaks. But that's the $USD. If you want to do like a platinum to palladium ratio, $PLAT, $PALL. That's the platinum to palladium ratio. We want to zoom out, get a bigger picture view, go to 1. And here we are, kind of what I think we're bottoming. We've got higher low, higher low. I think eventually this is just going to keep stepping up with higher highs. And platinum's going to outperform palladium just by looking at charts. So I go to stockcharts.com. I do that format. And if you guys have any questions, put it in the comment section of what you guys want to look up for ratios. And then what I did is I created, actually, I don't even know if I have it here. I created a me see if I even have anything. A ratio investing. I don't know if I have it on this computer. Ratio analysis. Here we go. I think I might. Oh no, that's another analysis I did. I did do an analysis of ratios. Oh, here it is, swapping metals and stuff. So I did do this. I put it in a Excel spreadsheet, all this stuff. It took a lot of work to do this. So there is all the averages behind me right here. These are the prices up here. These are the ratios all below. I did it till 2019, and these are averages per year. So that's where I have all those charts that I created. And if you kind of know, you don't need to create those charts. If you understand the ratios, what's cheap and what's expensive, you can go to like literally Google Images, Google, and then you type in, or actually just platinum, palladium ratio. You click images, and then literally you can use like this guy right here. That guy right there is a long-term chart of the platinum to palladium ratio. And then you can do a stock charts, plot it real time, and compare it to history. So it's not too bad. That's kind of what I do. I've looked at this stuff. I know this stuff inside and out. And you have to get comfortable enough looking at these ratios, and it takes a little bit of time because you're looking at things a little differently. Everything we do in life is a ratio analysis. Everything. If someone says, how do you know this house is expensive or cheap? You know what you're going to do? You're going to go look and do your comps. You're going to compare it to other houses, and then literally you do a comparison. And a comparison is a ratio. If I were to say gasoline was 25 cents in 1950, is that expensive or cheap? And you know what you do? You'd go back to 1950 and you compare it to other items, the prices of other items. So, and then you do a comparison analysis. You would look at history and say, yeah, gas at this price was cheap in relationship to other goods and services compared to history. So it was cheap during that time frame. And it's all ratio analysis. Everything that you do is ratio analysis. People just don't know it. It's even in a ratio analysis when you compare prices at a store. You're comparing things from one item to another item. They're both in dollars, but you're comparing the actual price, and you're saying this one's lower and provides better value. There it is, better value, and I'm going to buy this one for whatever reason and criteria that you have. So I use stockcharts.com. You type in the dollar signs for the other things. You can do stocks. You can do the ratio of a stock in relationship to the price of silver. So if you have a silver stock, you can see how it's outperforming silver. And if it's not outperforming silver, buy physical silver. Now, I'll talk about a little bit more here. I'm a big proponent of physical metals. I don't like buying ETFs or things that are a representation of the physical metals. I mean, I have no problem buying an ETF that has silver mining companies or something like that. But why would you buy it for the physical metal? Just buy the physical metal. I mean, store it somewhere. I know that sounds like a pain, but when the stuff hits the fan, you're going to want physical. That's what everybody wants. And what's going to be short is the physical metals. And everyone's going to want the physical. They're not going to want so for Sprott's fund, I've looked into Sprott's fund in terms of silver, PSLV. You can't redeem that unless you have a lot of money in it. At this point, it's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in it, many hundreds, because you have to have something like, I can't remember the exact amount, 5,000 shares or 5,000 ounces, or maybe it's 5,000 ounces. And if you have over that, you can redeem it, and you have to pay for the shipping and all that stuff. So essentially, if you have $5,000 in it, you can't redeem it for physical metals. Then what's the point? You don't own the physical metal. you'll never own the physical metal because they're not going to redeem it. It's backed by physical and it takes physical off the market, but you can't redeem it. So I like the physical metals. I literally the physical metals. Now, you can go to a dealer. You can ask them questions about swapping the metals if you guys are interested in doing physical ratio swaps. Ask them questions. Ask them what the taxes are. Ask them when they have to do a 1099. A 1099 reported to the government if you transact, this is per transaction, over 100 ounces of palladium, 25 ounces of gold, 25 ounces of platinum, and 1,000 ounces of silver. That's when they have to do reporting on a 1099. No 1099 is they will not do a 1099. The dealer won't do a 1099 and report it to the government if it's below those numbers. If you go through a dealer. And you guys it's all responsible. The responsibility is on you to report your taxes. Now, some of this stuff, I don't know how they can tax gold and silver. That is constitutionally our money. How do you tax that? And there's states that aren't taxing it. They are pulling back. They are not taxing. So states not taxing gold and silver. Because you can buy gold and silver tax-free from bullion exchanges online if you're ordering from Alaska, Delaware, New Hampshire, Montana, and Oregon. These states do not impose any online sales tax of 2020. There are ones that they're starting to accept. Louisiana, Utah, and Texas have passed legislation recognizing gold and silver as legal tender, a move that allows citizens to make transactions using precious metals in place of cash. There's also a bunch of states. How do you avoid sales tax-free precious metals? As mentioned above, to avoid the tax in the state of California, you must make a purchase of more than $1,500. This applies only to gold and silver and only if the purchase was from one dealer. There's tax-free precious metals. All of these, there's a lot of states that are changing taxes against precious metals. And it's favorable for holding precious metals. They're going to literally say zero taxes. Now, I don't know how they can tax this stuff. That's my viewpoint, because in the Constitution, we are supposed to have gold and silver as money. How the heck are you going to tax it? It's supposed to be our money. And how can you have a Federal Reserve? How can you have paper dollars? How can you have all this illegal money? It's illegal. Look at the Constitution. Constitutional money, gold and silver. Gold and silver should not be taxed. That's my take on it. And they're changing sales tax precious metals by state. They're changing state by state. They are having some states not tax gold and silver. They're not taxing it. They're repealing it. They're taking taxes back. Arkansas ends sales taxes on gold and silver May 4th, 2021. Update on coins, precious metals sales tax exemptions. No state sales taxes at all. Alaska, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon. They're growing right now. And you know what? I probably might move to a state that has that actually cares about its citizens, cares about the people that live in the state. So I think that the taxes are going to be, they're going to remove them, not add them. And that's my take on it. I've heard of people paying laborers in silver and using the face value on the coin that is minted by the government, using the face value of it, using that as taxes, but paying them out for the metal content. They got caught and they said that they had to pay the taxes, but I don't see what's wrong with that. If the government wants to government or Federal Reserve wants to debase the currency so much that someone plays that trick, I don't see it as a problem, because he's paying what they minted on the face of the freaking coin. If it's on the face of the coin, it's their bad, not ours. You devalued this stuff. You're stealing the wealth out of the currency. You know what? That should be perfectly fine to do. I don't see what's wrong with it. That's just me. And you know what? I'm not telling anybody to avoid taxes. I'm not telling anybody to do that stuff. I'm just saying I don't know why we're using anything other than gold and silver. That's what's in our Constitution. I think the taxes are going to actually come back on it for most states. And if the states care about their people and the people speak up and you own gold and silver, tell them that you don't want it to be taxed. Tell them, remove these taxes. This is unconstitutional. And maybe they'll remove it. Some states are removing it. So we'll see. But I hold the physical metals. I don't deal with PSLV. I don't deal with that stuff. You can't redeem that metal. So I don't do it. I just buy physical. And I pay it. Right now, I don't really pay the premium because I bought all this stuff back when it was cheap. And the premiums were cheap. Nobody wanted this stuff. And I bought the living heck out of it. And that's what I do. I look for the opportunities. I find the anomalies. And I buy the stuff that nobody's buying. Some of this stuff is getting more expensive. The premiums are going higher. And I don't buy nearly as much. That's just what I do. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.